Hi everyone! So I'm back today with a video about my birth story, I guess, as promised. A lot of you wanted to hear about my birth story and like what happened. My birth story is something I actually don't want to really think about for a while because it wasn't traumatic or anything, but I think any woman doesn't really want to remember that, if you get what I mean. If you've gone through labor, you'll understand what I mean. It started, he was born on a Thursday, so on the Wednesday night around 9 o'clock at night. Oh, bless you. Bless you, mommy. I've got Daniel here next to me in his little bouncer playing. I thought I found some time to, this is his favorite rattle, by the way. Found some time to film this video. He's in a good mood and he's just chilling in his bouncer. He's just recently learned to lift his head up, so he's constantly going anyway, so at 9 o'clock at night on the Wednesday night, I was home alone. Mustafa was at the gym and I was just watching TV, just chilling. I was at this point, I think I was about to be 39 weeks. I don't think I was 39 weeks yet. I was like bouncing on my yoga ball, watching TV, just chilling. Didn't think anything of it or anything. And then all of a sudden I heard like a pop sound, literally like a pop sound, okay? And I was like, oh, what the hell was that? And then I get off this yoga ball and all of a sudden I kind of get this cramp in my stomach. And before that, I was sitting on the couch and I was getting like really like aches in my back, in my lower back. And I was like, oh, could that be contractions? I don't know. And then I called my mum and I was like, Mum, can you get contractions in your back? And then she's like, yeah, you can. She said, if you start seeing them come closer together, then start timing. I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, that's when I decided to go on my yoga ball because I was like, oh, maybe it'll bring it on or something. Anyway, so I got a light cramp after I heard that pop. I called up Mustafa and I was like, babe, I think I may have just gotten a contraction. Like, I'm not sure. But I'm just letting you know. And he's like, oh my God, do you want me to come home? He started freaking out. And he's like, do you want me to come home now? I was like, no, it's fine. Just finish the session and then come home. And I'll let you know if anything else happens. I'll give you a call. And he's like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Anyway, as soon as I got off the phone, I went into the kitchen, right? So I was like, so my mother-in-law was going to come stay with us for like 3 days after I had the baby. So I was like, just in case, I have this baby like tonight or tomorrow or soon, I should probably clean the kitchen and make sure it's like nice and tidy. So I go in and I was like packing away the pots, and I bent down to put a pot inside like my corner cupboard, and all I felt was water running down my leg. And I was like, what the hell, right? I was wearing like a dress and then I just see this water like dripping, okay? It wasn't like a gush or anything. It was just like drops, running down and then like onto the floor, running down my leg and onto the floor. And then after that, I was like, is this my waters? So I called up Mustafa and no, I think I called up my mum first. Yes, I called up my mum and I was like, Mum, this, that happened. Do you think my water broke? And she's like, yeah, I think your water broke. She's like, call the hospital and just see what they say. I was like, okay. So I called the hospital and they said, yeah, it sounds like your water broke. You should probably come in. I was also Group B strep positive, guys, by the way. That's actually a main point of my story. For anybody that doesn't know, that's basically like a bacteria. Yeah, I think it's a bacteria that lives in a female's vagina that basically lives there non-stop. But when you fall pregnant, it can sometimes become active. And when that's active during pregnancy, an infection can then be passed on to the baby, and that could be very, very scary and very dangerous for the baby. It could also lead to like death and stuff like that. So it's very serious. Anyway, so I tested positive for that literally, I think because you get tested for it when you're 36 weeks. So at 36 weeks I got tested and I was positive, unfortunately. And that just means that when your water breaks, you need to go straight to the hospital so that you can start a dose of antibiotics. And that's just to protect the baby from contracting that infection. That's why I needed to call the hospital. So I called the hospital and they said, because you're group B strep positive, you should probably come into the hospital right now because your water's broke. And I was like, okay, cool. So I called up Mustafa, and then Mustafa was like freaking out. Like, I was like to him, babe, my water broke. And he's like, what? Oh my God, your water broke? What? And I was like, yeah, it's okay. Just come home now. And he's like, okay. Anyway, he came home. As soon as he came home, he was just like, I think he was in shock. Like, he was just like, okay, babe. And he's like, okay, babe, what do I need to pack? Tell me what I need to pack. I need to pack it now. And he's like rushing throughout the house. And I was like, babe, stop and calm down. Just breathe, okay? And then he's just like, and then he stopped and he calmed down. And then I continued to I was like, just calm down. Pack this stuff slowly and carefully. We don't want to forget anything. Just calm down. And then he was just like, okay. And then he calmed down. We packed all those last minute things into the baby bag for him as well, packed his stuff. And then we head off. So, hi, are you trying to talk to me? Mustafa, we first stopped off at Hungry Jack's because Mustafa hadn't eaten all day and he was starving after that session. So we stopped up at Hungry Jack's. I was getting like mild contractions in the car, and then they were like quickly progressing. So we got to the Hungry Jack's drive-through, we get to the lady, and then she's like, oh, can you just, there's just a bit of a weight on whatever it was. I think it was the onion rings. There's a bit of a weight on the onion rings. And then I was like, and then Mustafa was like, do you know how long the wait is? Because my wife's in labor and we need to get her to the hospital. And then she's kind of like, what? Yeah, not that long. And then we got to the hospital and got to the, I guess, not the maternity ward, I forgot what it's called, I think the labor ward or whatever. We got to the ward, and then they took me into like the assessment room, and they wanted to make sure that my waters did break. So they got me to wear a pad, and then to see like what was the substance that was coming out. When the midwife saw my pad, she wasn't sure that it was my waters, but I was pretty certain it was my waters because literally it was water that was coming down my leg. Anyway, and then she was like, okay, let me just do a quick test, do a quick assessment. So she took a swab, and then she went in, and then she went to go test it. And then when she went, I got up to get dressed from the bed. Mama. I got up to get dressed from the bed, and as soon as I got up, I had another gush of water. And then I was like, quickly, go call her and come, like, so she can come see what was coming down. So she came back. She was like, oh yeah, it's your waters have broken. As Mustafa came to call me, the test was already testing positive that your waters broke anyway. I was like, oh cool. She goes, okay, we'll move you to a room now. I was like, all right. You're so cute. How are you talking so much? So as soon as we got into the room, they provided me with a yoga ball. We kind of just got comfortable. I took off my pants. I was wearing like a long top. Took off my pants, got comfortable. And then I told Mustafa to take a nap. So I was like, Tim, take a nap now because I'm gonna need you later. So because he had woken up at 5 and gone to work that morning. And he hadn't had a sleep or anything. And at this point, I think it was about 10 o'clock, 10:30 or something. And then, so I was like, take a nap. And then when it gets really bad, I'll wake you up and we'll call my mum. My contractions progress really quickly. So I got in there, and when I was there, she said that you were only like 0.5 centimeter dilated or 1 centimeter dilated. I think I got into the room, and about an hour later, my contractions started getting really, really painful. And I woke up Mustafa and I was like, you need to call my mum now. Like, it's getting really, really bad. You need to call my mum. So I called my mum. My mum came probably, half an hour to an hour after that. And then it was just intense. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. So when I was getting assessed, my midwife was really, really good. Like, she was so lovely. When I was getting assessed, she's like to me, you just let me know what you want. If there's anything that you want to talk about or anything like that, I'm just here to support you. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. So I was like, okay. I was like, as you know, I'm group B strep positive. And I'm happy to get the antibiotics and everything. But I'm aware of your protocol being, if someone's group B strep positive, I need to be induced. So that's one of the protocols that are part of the hospital, where if you do have this infection, you need to get induced. And I guess that's their strategy to try and bring on labor and bring out the baby as quickly as possible, so that the baby is at less chance of getting infected. I discussed with her, I really didn't want to get induced because I guess there are risks involved in terms of like being at risk of a C-section, at risk of delaying labor, like things like that. So I said to her, I really don't want to get induced. I really want to see what my body does naturally to see if it progresses. Is that something we can do? So she said, look, I'm here for you and I'm here to do anything that you want. Like, this is your labor. And I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to not induce you or anything. But just to let you know, the doctors will be in to kind of try and convince you to get induced because there are risks involved. And I was like, okay, no worries. The doctor came in, this was before my mum came. The doctor came in and she was talking to me about it. And at this point, my contractions were like progressing really well. Like, they were becoming stronger and closer together, very like quickly. Like, I did not expect it to happen this quickly. So the doctor was talking to me and I was having contractions. And she basically said to me, the doctor was super dry, by the way. Like, she was so dry. But she was basically explaining the risks involved and the statistics involved. And she said she recommended that I do get induced. And I said to her, you know, is there like a maximum amount of time where I can try and see what my body can do, and then after that time I can then get induced? And she's like, not really. She goes, it's a risk regardless. And I was like, look, I understand the risks involved, and thank you for giving me this information, but I do want to see what my body does because I am already progressing. I'd like to just see where it goes. And anyway, so she left. My midwife came in and we just sat down and had a conversation. And she's like, look, Mariam, let's just put a plan together. She goes, let's set a time where we like basically put a maximum time to see where to check how much you've progressed. And if you haven't progressed enough where you're not in active labor, then we will induce you. And if not, and if you have, then we won't induce you. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. So I was like, how about we put a time of 8 o'clock tomorrow morning or something? I think it was 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And at this point, it was maybe 11 o'clock at night. She was like, okay, sounds good. She goes, if you haven't progressed far enough by that time, then we will have to induce you. And I was like, okay, I'm happy to that. I agree with that. So I had Daniel on the Thursday. So I went into the hospital the Wednesday night at around 10 o'clock. I had Daniel on the Thursday at 6:45, I think it was. Yeah, 6:45. So it was literally, I had him before we even said, you know, we expected to reach active labor and whatever it is. Thank God. So I didn't need to get induced, which was amazing. But during my labor, a lot of things that I feel like helped was my midwife came in and she put some clarisage essential oils in a diffuser, which was so lovely. Like, she came in and she was like, do you want some essential oils? And I was like, yeah, I'd love some. And she said, this is meant to bring on contractions. I was like, okay. And I think that really helped because, oh my God, like it like my contractions came so quickly. Like, I just progressed so quickly. I didn't expect to progress that quickly. I was bouncing on the yoga ball a lot. I was doing a lot of breathing. I put on really relaxing music. Yeah, it was just a very relaxed environment. So the contractions were not easy. Oh my God. I feel like no one can prepare you for labor. Like, you know how they say, look, I'm going to be that person, okay? You know how they say, like, it's like getting your period? No, it's not like getting your period cramps. It's so much worse. It's like 10 times that pain. Maybe 20 times that pain. It's so bad, okay? I did a lot of breathing when my contractions came. So breathing in when, lots of breathing in, holding it for 4 seconds or whatever it is, and then breathing out. And then lots of like my back. I was getting really bad contractions in my back. Mum and Mustafa were super supportive during my labor. Mustafa was really helpful in terms of, he was giving me lots of massages, lots of like positive talks, and I can do this and stuff, which is that stuff really helps me get through things. When me and the midwife decided that we were going to wait to induce, the midwife said to me, I'm not going to be able to check you because of your infection. I can't check you because that raises the risk of transferring the infection to your baby. So I got to a point where, like, look, labor's so hard, right? And like, you get to a point where it's like the pain is not, like, you can't tolerate the pain anymore, and you just want to know how much longer you have. So I got to a point where my contractions were like, 5 minutes apart, and they were so intense, like so intense. Or even, I think they were even closer than that. They were like 3 minutes to 5 minutes apart, and I was like, so please, I just need you to check me. Just let me know how much longer I have, because I don't know how much longer I can do this for. Then she was like, if I check you now, then I'm gonna need to induce you. And I was like, I don't understand the logic behind that, but I was like, fine, then don't check me. Like, I wasn't rude, but I got really angry. Like, I got angry because I'm like, I just want to know how much longer I have, and this pain is just not tolerable. So I was in the shower doing lots of putting hot water on my back. Lots of massage on my back from my husband, from my mum. Every time my contraction would come, that counter pressure as well, like that counter pressure of pushing against my pain, so against my back, while the contraction was coming, that helped me a lot. I didn't really know my options in terms of pain management. Made the decision not to take an epidural, but I didn't really know what was available. So the midwife came in and she was like, oh, darling, do you want some gas? And I was like, yeah, okay, if I can have it, yeah, for sure. So she brought in the gas, and then that's, like, it helped, but the pain obviously was still there. So I feel like it just like took the edge off the pain. Like, it was weird. Like, the pain was the same, but it's just like, I think it was more of a distraction. So when the contraction would happen, I'd put it on and I'd breathe, and I think it was like a distraction. It just encouraged me to breathe. So I used the gas, and like, you don't even, like, I literally, like, Mustafa was like, babe, maybe you should slow down on the gas. But like, I didn't even get, you don't get high off the gas when you're going through such intense contractions. You don't get high off it. You don't even feel like it's working. Like, at one point I was like to the midwife, I'm like, I think the gas is finished. Like, I don't feel like it's like, I feel like it's not working. It's not working. And then she was like, no, hun, like, that tank is like, big enough to, serve, to provide for, days or whatever it was. And I was like, oh, okay. But the contraction is just like overpowered the gas so much, that's how bad the pain is. Like I said, I think it was really helpful in terms of distraction. It's just kind of like, just relieve that edge a bit. So then I got to a point where I said, I need you to check me. Like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't do this anymore. I need you to check me. The midwife was like to me, okay, it seems like your contractions are really, really close together, and I think you're in active labor. So I'll check you, and I won't induce you. And I was like, oh, thank God. So she checked me, and I was 6 centimeters dilated. And this is within, like, what I'd say, so all up, I think my labor was 9 hours. My water broke to when I had the baby. And I think that was by hour, like, 8 or something, right? 8 like 8.5 or something like that. And she checked me, it was 6 centimeters, and I was so disappointed. I was like, only 6 centimeters? How can I only be 6 centimeters with all this pain? I don't think I can do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. It was so funny. I got so angry. I started like kicking the bed. I was like punching the bed because I was just so disappointed. And so like, I was so disappointed. And then the midwife was like, okay, now watch the bed. You don't want to break it. And I was like, don't talk to me like that, And then I got up off the bed and kicked the yoga ball. And I was like, come into the shower. I need help. Got into the shower and just did more like hot water on my back and lots of massage and stuff like that. After I finished from the shower, I got tired from standing and sitting, and it was painful all over. And I was like, I want to go sit on the bed. I need to go lean on something. That's what I said. I need to go lean on something. So I got to the bed and I started leaning on the bed. And then the midwife came in and she's like, I'm starting to hear pushing. And I was like, what, really? And as soon as she pointed that out, I started realizing that I started to grunt. Like I was starting to grunt, like going like, ah, like that, right? And I could feel, and I was like, and then she checked me and she's like, yeah, you're 10 centimeters dilated now. Like baby could come at any time. I was like, okay. And then she was getting everything ready. And at this point I was like, I was leaning on the bed, right? I was standing up leaning on the bed, and then I started to feel really tired. My back was killing me. So I was like, I need to get on the bed. I need to get on the bed. Couldn't lie on my back because it was way too painful. So I ended up being on all fours on my bed. But I was holding onto the headboard, and then, so I was leaning against the headboard like that, and I was squatting. And that's how Daniel came out. So I think the pushing was only about 30 minutes or so. It took a lot of mental strength to get Daniel out. I just wanted him out so bad because I was so tired. I also requested that I get a warm water compress. So like, so warm water on my area to, because evidence shows that it reduces tearing. So I requested that. And my midwife did follow through, and she poured hot water down my area. And then the midwife was really good. So she was like, only push when you feel like pushing. And I was like, okay. So every time I felt a contraction come on and I felt like pushing, like your body just does it uncontrollably. Like you literally just push. And it kind of feels like you're doing a poo. And before I knew it, Daniel was born. What they say, how you get that ring of fire when the head's coming out. Like when his head was coming out, you could feel like it was like a burning sensation. And then as soon as his head came out, I guess it was like, I didn't see it. I haven't watched the videos. I will not watch the videos. I will listen to the videos, and I get really taken back and really upset. So I can't watch or listen to them. And when his head was out, I was like almost holding my breath because I was scared that he was going to go back in. And then as soon as his head came out, the midwife then guided out his shoulder. Like with every push, the midwife guided out his shoulders, and then he came out. The midwife put him under me so that I can grab him. She's like, look, pick up your child, pick up your baby. And then I was like, what? How? Where is he? And I looked down and I was like, I don't know how to pick him up. Somebody needs to help me. Like I was in shock. I was like, someone needs to help me, please. And she helped me pick him up, and I put him on my chest, and then I slowly turned over. I also requested delayed cord clamp. So mum has looked that up because there's lots of evidence behind it in terms of making sure that that baby receives all that blood from the placenta before the cord is cut. So basically you wait for the cord to go white, and that could take, I think I waited about 5 to 8 minutes or something, and then we cut the cord. Daniel was born, he was put on my chest. We put him on to feed, I think straight away. I think it was straight away, yeah. And then that was a crazy moment. It was like a moment of shock. Like I think when he came out, I was just like, oh my God, he's here. Like I was just looking at him like, whoa, like I think it was more like I just did that. Like that just happened. You know what I mean? Like, so it was born. Me and Mustafa were in a really surreal position. Mustafa was just like, oh my God, look at his hands, look at his eyebrows. The first thing Mustafa mentioned was, oh my God, he's got your eyebrows. He didn't want him to have his eyebrows. So he was like, thank God he has your eyebrows. And then we both looked at his hands and we're like, oh my God, he's got big hands like you. It was so intense. So we did a lot of skin to skin. We breastfed, and then I got checked for any tears, and the midwife told me that it wasn't even considered like a first degree tear. It was considered, like it wasn't even considered a first degree tear. So it was some lacerations. However, I did need some stitches. I don't know how many stitches I got. But yeah, I did need some stitches. Stitches was really hard, to be honest. It was painful. There were so many injections that they had to put in to numb the area, and that was really painful. I'm just putting Daniel to sleep. It's nap time. So after that. Daniel then got checked and all that for, got checked his height and his weight, had his first injection, his immunization, and then, yeah, and then I got stitched up. So I got stitched up. The stitches were painful. I literally was holding my mum's hand the whole time. I think and I was blowing on the gas the whole time, right? So the midwife was like, okay, honey, you know, blow on that gas, keep blowing on that gas. And then I actually got high then. Like, so this is what I'm saying. So during labor, I was breathing in that gas so much and I didn't even feel anywhere near high or anything like that. But during the contractions, I felt like I was getting high. So all of a sudden, this feeling just got really heavy and I was like, oh my God, Mom, I think I just got high. Oh my God. I feel so happy. And then it quickly went away, I think, because the pain was taking over. Hi guys! Say hi, Mom! So Daniel's getting upset, so we need to hold him now. So that's basically what happened. Then we just got transferred to the maternity unit, and I stayed there for 24 hours just to monitor any symptoms in terms of the infection, the group B strep positive infection, for him and me. And we gave him his first bath in the hospital. And then we went home and brought him to our home, Mama. And it's just been great ever since. He's still in his PJs. You're still in your PJs, right? Because it's so cold here. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions or stories about your labor, and if you shared anything similar to mine, please comment below and let me know. I love reading through your comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.